You've heard about the Bible's miracles, and it appears that we're experiencing one of them unfold before our very eyes. The Jordan River is finally dried up after centuries of being a holy symbol, exposing something truly remarkable. But what exactly is it? Well, let's just say that you won't believe your eyes when you see what's emerged. Join us as we explore what is going on near the Jordan River. The Jordan River is a 156-mile-long river that flows from north to south via the Sea of Galilee and into the Dead Sea, the lowest point on Earth. It is around a 40-minute drive from Amman, Jordan's capital city. The Jordan River is a religiously significant place, not just because it is thought to be the location where Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist, but both the Old and New Testaments describe key stories that occurred in the Jordan River area. For example, Joshua chapter 9 verses 9 through 10 says, "Tell the priest who carry the Ark of the Covenant, when you reach the edge of Jordan's waters, go and stand in the river." Joshua said to the Israelites, "Come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God." Furthermore, the Jordan River is thought to be where John the Baptist began his public preaching, and where other baptism ceremonies took place throughout history. "And there went out unto him all the land of Judea, and they of Jerusalem," Mark chapter 1 verse 5 says, "and they were all baptized of him in the river of Jordan, confessing their sins." In Deuteronomy chapter 30 verses 18 through 20, the Israelites were nearing the end of their trek through the wilderness to the promised land. They experienced hunger and lost along the way on what seemed to be an endless trek, but it was coming to an end at this point. The Lord then instructed them to choose a righteous route, saying, "I declare to you today that you shall surely perish. You will not prolong your days in the land where you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess it. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today, that I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. So choose life in order that you may live." Jordan is one of the driest places in the world, so people have been used to only having water in their homes about 36 hours a week for a long time. But last year, even that small flow was slowed down because the world is getting warmer and demand is growing. Population growth, less water, and climate change have all hurt Jordan. Damage and inefficient infrastructure and the many problems caused by the country's geography and terrain have made things even worse. The shortages that followed are a sign of what the area and what the rest of the world might face in the future. All of the country's major water sources are near its border, so water has to be moved inland. This takes a lot of energy and costs more as the price of fuel goes up. Rainfall has dropped off a cliff in the last few decades, and because temperatures are rising, what rain does fall quickly vanishes. Farmers already have less time to grow crops because summers are getting longer and hotter. Jordan has been hit hard by climate change in the last 2 years. The river that gives the country its name is almost out of water. The average flow of the Jordan River is less than 10% of what it used to be, and a major feeder, the Yarmouk River, is much smaller than it used to be. The once rushing waters of the Jordan River flow into the Dead Sea, which is becoming less and less of a saltwater lake. Israel and Syria, which are upstream, have taken water from the rivers for their own use for many years. It's hard to get more supplies from these sources, especially since Israel and Jordan have a cold peace for decades. And all of this has made it too easy to get water from aquifers below the top of the earth. The aquifers are being taken at a rate about twice as fast as they can naturally refill, and they now provide about 60% of the country's water. The population is now thought to be over 11 million, up from 8 million just 10 years ago. More than 760,000 refugees have registered with the UN. When the floodgates are opened, a torrent of water rushes into a dry riverbed and runs to the shore of the Sea of Galilee, a biblical lake in northern Israel that was drying up because of drought and the growing population around it. The water is clean, of good quality, and costs a lot. The water is taken from the Mediterranean Sea, cleaned of salt, and sent to other parts of the country, where it waits to be sent back to the lake if it starts to shrink again. With this new network, Israel will also be able to double the amount of water it gives to neighboring Jordan as part of a larger deal to trade water for energy. This deal was made possible by a working, if sometimes tense, relationship between the two countries. Christians think that Jesus walked on the water of the Sea of Galilee. It is Israel's largest lake and a popular place for tourists to visit. Hotels and campgrounds line the edge, which is surrounded by green hills. It gives water to the Jordan River, which runs south to the Dead Sea. The level of the lake makes national news when there's a heat wave or a lot of rain. Due to long droughts and retreating shorelines, alarms went off often over the past 10 years. So, Israel built a series of desalination plants along its Mediterranean coast. Now, Israel has more water than it needs, which is a bright spot in a dry area that is very sensitive to climate change. Yoav Barkay, who runs the national water carrier system at state-owned Mekrot, said, "All the extra water that the plants are making, we will be able to bring it up north and into the Sea of Galilee." On a dry, sunny day in late January that felt more like spring than winter, he stood at a collection pool above the lake. He said, "With the way the climate is changing, you don't know what to expect next year or the year after that. We no longer rely on rain as our main source of water." He said that since water exports to Jordan were going up, the refill method might be used more often. Mekrot says that it can raise the level of the lake by half a meter per year. The peace pact that the two neighbors signed in 1994 had a lot to do with water. Under the deal, Israel would send 50 million cubic meters of safe water to Jordan every year, and at the end of 2021 it was doubled. Both countries are active members of the pact, even though they accuse each other of making water shortages worse by how they handle the rivers they share and that flow into each other. Jordanian and Israeli officials have been pointing fingers at each other over river levels, reservoirs, and the progress of a separate plan to desalinate water from the southern Red Sea. These are all problems that could be very sensitive in a tense area with little water. But things have gotten better. About a year ago, Israel and Jordan decided to work together on a project where Jordan would build 600 megawatts of solar power that would be sent to Israel in exchange for more water. At the time, Jordan's Minister of Water and Irrigation said that climate change and a large number of refugees made Jordan's water problems worse, but that there are ways for the region to work together to fix them. Industry sources told Reuters that work has begun on a pipeline that will double the amount of oil that will reach Jordan. This means that Jordan will get about 200 million cubic meters of water, which is the same amount that Israel's 5 largest towns use together. At the moment, the national water carrier is empty because it is getting fixes and upgrades for the season. At one point in northern Israel, workers work on a pipe that is big enough for them to stand in. They are adding a new line that goes to the city of Beit Shan and then goes east to the Jordanian border. Mekrot hopes to have it finished by the year 2026. Jordan is one of the countries with the least amount of water according to the U.S. Agency for International Development, which works with Jordan to improve water security. The natural water supply meets about 2/3 of the demand, and groundwater is used twice as fast as it can be refilled. The Dead Sea is a salty lake in southwestern Asia, with Jordan controlling the eastern half and Israel controlling the western half. Since the 1967 Arab-Israeli conflict, Israel has ruled the Palestinian West Bank, which encompasses the northern part of the western shore. The Jordan River, which flows into the lake from the north, provides the majority of the water in the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea has many theological and biblical implications. Several Jewish tribes lived in caves near the Dead Sea during the time of the Bible. Archaeologists are now piece by piece reassembling the scrolls. A pool of water near the Dead Sea in Moab, now Jordan, has taken on an interesting color. Workers from Jordan's Ministry of Water and Irrigation are taking water samples from the Red Lagoon, which is just on the Jordanian border. They are trying to figure out what is causing the strange phenomenon, which is yet to be explained. The photos have gotten a lot of attention on social media. In the Old Testament, blood red water was one of the 10 plagues God delivered to Egypt's Pharaoh to free the Israelites from slavery. God, according to the Bible, turned the Nile's water into blood, killing the fish and rendering it unsafe to drink for Egyptians. This was the first of 10 negative consequences of the Pharaoh's unwillingness to release his Jewish slaves. The blood-red pond is located on the east shore of the Dead Sea. This is also the location of the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah before God destroyed them because they were wicked. According to Yassin Al-Kasesbeh, the director of agriculture in the southern Jordan Valley, this is caused by a form of bacteria and red algae that thrive in salty water and change color when exposed to sunshine. However, this does not explain why the water became red all of a sudden when other pools in the neighborhood have not, especially given the location is sunny virtually all year. Other officials informed Israel today that the iron oxide in the water could be to blame for the unusual hue change. They did not, however, explain how the iron oxide got into the pool or why the color changed so quickly. Many Jordanians shared this viewpoint. They claimed that the government was concealing a source of pollution or utilizing the pool to dump waste chemicals. The Dead Sea is a saline lake in southern Israel. It is located in the Judean desert east of Jordan. It was formed approximately 4 million years ago and is the lowest point on Earth. It's one of the most salty areas on the planet to find water. It has a salinity of more than 30%, indicating that its water is mineral rich. Bathing in the Dead Sea is said to be good for your health, despite the fact that the water is too salty to support marine life. However, the Dead Sea has declined significantly in recent years. Climate change is most likely to blame. So, that's going to bring us to the end of today's video. We would like to thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you always stay updated with our latest developments. You'll be the first to know when we have a new update for you. And don't forget to share our video with friends and family and others who would like our video. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.